What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and if you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever. You will be abducted by an alien tonight. His name will be Flembob, and he will take you to the mystical planet Doodlebop, where you will learn how to dance to Wiggles music. Forever. And you don't want to be stuck there forever, so press the like button. Real talk though, guys, today I have a subscriber story that was sent in to me about how their stepdad literally tried to blackmail them in order to get them to move out of the house, and I don't know if this is just like me being naive and not having step-parents. I really thought the whole evil step-parent thing was like just supposed to be a joke and like didn't actually happen, but this kid's story made me think that there's actually people out there on like the Disney level of evil step-parents. Regardless, it's a pretty good story, not in terms of what happened, but in terms of like how it feels to listen to it. So we're gonna be doing that today. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it.
Yeah, I pull up and I got those. You haters looking cheesy like some nachos, but I will never.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so this story opens up with this kid's parents getting divorced. You didn't tell me why, and it's not really important to the story, so don't be weird and be like, oh, why'd your parents get divorced? I don't know, it's just a weird question to ask someone. So that's where we're starting at. His parents are divorced, and his mom starts dating this guy who's like a little bit of a douche canoe, He's not necessarily overtly a douche like in front of this kid's mom, but he's just very condescending and kind of mean to him. And whatever, his mom and this guy keep dating, and eventually they get married. And this means that this dude is now his stepdad. And I personally have never had a stepdad, but I feel like that dynamic has got to be a little bit awkward, especially if the person is like a condescending douchebag to you because they're just, not your dad, so you can't talk to them the same way you would. But they also are like dating your mom, so they think you're in charge of you. It's just a very awkward predicament, especially if they're a douche. Like, I'm sure if your stepdad's a nice guy, he takes you to baseball games, he buys you ice cream, it's a fantastic time. But if you're doing what this kid says that his stepdad was doing to him, then yeah, I can understand why it's not a good relationship and why you're probably having a hard time bonding over there with your stepson. Basically, as soon as they got married and he moved in with him and this kid's mom, he started making this kid's life miserable. He started like taking away his Xbox during the week to not distract him from school, He started going into his room at 9 p.m. and ripping his phone out of his hand. And all of these things sound pretty reasonable, right? You're like, oh, well, if you're staying up late playing video games, you can't focus on school. But before the stepdad moved in and started like doing all this stuff to help the stepkid, he was like a straight A student. He had no problems. It wasn't that big of a deal. But the stepdad literally, for whatever reason, just had this vendetta against him to take everything that brought him happiness and made him relaxed and just like take it as far away as possible. If the kid liked to read books, then his dad would take, or the stepdad would take all the lamps out of the room so he couldn't read at night. If the kid was into a video game, then his Xbox would get banned so he could focus on school. If the kid was listening to too much music, he would take away his headphones. Like, this guy was basically just making his life miserable. But when he would talk to the kid's mom, he would have this, I'm just worried about the kid, you know what I mean? And so the mom was like, it's so sweet that you're worried about my son. And in reality, he's just basically trying to make this kid miserable. Keep in mind, before the stepdad had moved in, this kid had been a straight A student, but obviously when somebody is like coming into your house and taking away everything that brings you happiness and helps you relax, you start to struggle a little bit. So he starts, failing school, having a little bit of difficulty paying attention in class, because when your home life is just you getting annoyed because your stepdad's gonna try to take away something you care about as soon as you get home, it's probably hard to focus on English class. And once he starts failing school, the stepdad starts to talk to the mom about how, maybe boarding school needs to be an option because clearly there's just something going on at home that's just disrupting his ability to learn, and education is so important. The stepdad is really just trying to get this kid out of here, dude. And here's what I don't understand. If you knew that the girl you were marrying had a kid that lived with her, why did you marry her if you just were gonna hate him? Like, I'm just saying, if you meet somebody's kid and you hate them, it's a lot easier to just go, alright, plenty of fish in the sea, we're playing Subnautica, there's tons of them. But no, dude, like, you married a girl whose kid you just hated? That just doesn't make sense to me. Why go through with marrying this chick if you were just gonna, hate her kid and do everything you could in your power to make sure that he wanted to move out? And the kid now is additionally stressed because he realizes that the stepdad is trying to get his mom to, like, send him to boarding school, so that doesn't help the grade situation because now there's all this pressure to get good grades, but he's already a little bit behind in his classes because he wasn't paying attention. So like, this kid is just stressed out. He is just straight up not having a good time. But something that had been helping him through this hard time is he had a girlfriend at school, and they were really close and they would text a lot, and I guess she was doing a lot to, help him through it, which good for him. I'm glad that he had that, because obviously the kid was going through it. He needed somebody to help him with something. I'm glad he managed to get a girlfriend. When I was this kid's age, girls didn't want to look at me because I hadn't hit puberty yet and I was short and tiny, but do you, bro, get the bag, get the ladies, congratulations on being cooler than everybody else. And for whatever reason, the stepdad didn't know about the girlfriend. He hadn't told him about him, obviously, because he doesn't like him. He's not going to tell him, but he hadn't even told his mom yet either. He was just dating this girl at school, and he hadn't told his mom or his stepdad yet because he just didn't want to, which I understand. It's very awkward to talk to your parents about relationships, dude, because yeah, I know you mean the best for me if you're my parent, but I don't really want to talk to you about my dating life. It's just weird. I know some people were super open with their parents about their dating life, and if you can do that, good for you. But, I personally can relate to this kid being I do not want to talk to my mom about my girlfriend. And I especially don't want to talk to my stepdad, who I don't like, about my girlfriend. That is the last thing on my bucket list. Because, yeah, the idea of having to sit down with an adult that hates me and explain anything about my dating life does not sound like an enticing time. I'm good. I'll sit that one out literally every time. Regardless, one day, the stepdad would pick this kid up from school. He went to pick him up, and he saw him kiss his girlfriend goodbye before he got in the car. And usually he tries to hide it, but I don't know, somehow the stepdad saw it. So, he gets in the car door and they start driving home. And the entire time home, the stepdad is just interrogating him about this girl. And the kid is trying to be oh, it's just a friend. He's trying to play dumb or just stay silent. He's pleading the fifth. If he doesn't want to answer the questions, he's just staying quiet. And the stepdad is yelling at him in the car about how he knew he was up to no good and now he's lying and destroying this family. And it's dude, he didn't lie to you. He just didn't want to tell you that he had a girlfriend. And even then, what is he doing that's shady? Are kids not allowed to have girlfriends? What? How is that shady literally at all? I'm pretty sure every teenage kid has had a girlfriend or a boyfriend at some point. What do you mean it's shady for you to be dating someone and not tell your family? That happens literally all the time. Teenagers date people. Oh, you're up to no good. You're going down the wrong path. What, do you want him to live alone forever? Just never have anyone in his life? Just be I'm all alone, but at least my stepdad's happy. No, kids are gonna date people. So the stepdad is freaking out, saying that he's lying and going down the wrong path, and he can't believe that the sweet little boy he used to know has turned into this. And what's really annoying, I don't know if anyone has ever had this before, dude. Imagine somebody that you hate, that has gone out of their way to make your life miserable, trying to tell you how much they care about you and how they just want to help you before you go down the wrong path. So mistakenly, this kid just freaks out on the stepdad and just starts screaming at him, saying how much he hates him and how he wishes he would just get out of their life, all that stuff, which obviously does not help the situation, because the stepdad already was not a fan of him before he had said all that. So whatever. The rest of the car ride home after his little interrogation about his girlfriend is dead silent. And then they pull into the garage and the kid goes to get out of the car. And when he goes to open the car door, hi, quick little reminder that you should all follow me on Twitter at Scrubby_69, by the way. When he goes to open the car door, his stepdad locks it and gets up in his face and is listen to me right now. Unless you want your mom to find out about, what you just said about hating me and how you wish I wasn't in your life, then you need to call your dad tonight and tell him that you want to get out of here. Do you understand? And the kid is dude, come on. I just yelled at you in the car. It's not that big of a deal. And then the stepdad smiles and pulled out his phone. And he had recorded this kid going off on him, but not anything beforehand. So it just sounds in the middle of the car ride in silence for no reason, this kid just starts going in on his stepdad, saying how much he hates him. And obviously he said some bad stuff that I'm not going to say in the video because I'm trying to stay monetized. But let's just say he very much let this guy know how he feels about him after this guy was just being a douche. So he's like blackmailing him and basically saying he's gonna cause problems for this kid and his mom unless he calls his dad and is like, can I come live with you? So at this point, the kid is like, look, I can tell my mom, but then it's a he said, and my mom's obviously married to the dude, so she's pretty good at believing his BS. Like, everyone else can see through it except for her, and he's just exhausted of having this guy in his life. Like, at this point, he's like, if I go live with my dad, at least I don't have to deal with this anymore. I don't have to deal with this crazy dude trying to make my life miserable, take everything I like away. So, whatever. Fine, he's gonna go live with his dad. So the stepdad blackmails him after baiting him into this argument about his girlfriend, and he calls his dad and is like, hey, can I come live with you? The dad, who had only had him on weekends at the time, was like, yeah, sure, of course. He tells his mom is confused and upset, but she's like, okay, if that's what you want, if you'll think you'll be happier. Of course, the stepdad acts like all sad in front of the mom, and is like, oh, I hope, we never made you feel uncomfortable. That was never something that we would ever want. Like, just hamming it up in front of the mom about how much he's going to miss this kid. And it's like, oh, yeah, you're really going to miss him, bud. Sure. That's why you were trying to blackmail him with the recording from him getting mad in the car to, like, force him to get out of here, dude. Yeah, you're definitely just the most caring, sweet man to ever exist. How do you blackmail a child, like, as a grown man? This is a 45-year-old. This dude could probably grow a beard, probably could roleplay as Santa Claus at the mall. And he's like, yep, better blackmail this 14-year-old kid to just really teach him a lesson. How dare he have the nerve to be born to the girl that I wasn't married to? Like, what do you want him to do? It's not his fault that you like his mom, why are you taking your anger out on him? And obviously the stepdad just had some, like, very deep-rooted anger issues somewhere else. Maybe it's because he hasn't been able to see his pecker in 7 years. I don't know. He can't see his toes. Whatever it is, it's making him very upset. But, like, I really just can't believe that somebody out there would be willing to blackmail a kid, especially their stepkid. Like, haha, I've got the upper hand. I still have to see you at Thanksgiving and Christmas, but I have the upper hand. You do realize that blackmailing somebody that you're going to have to see all the time just makes it very awkward when you see them, right? Like, I've never blackmailed anyone personally, but I'm imagining every time you see this kid that you blackmailed into moving out, it's going to be a very, very awkward situation on its hands. Regardless, the kid does end up moving in with his dad, and obviously things do get better. Having some stability at home, not having to worry about, like, coming home to his room ransacked and his lamp taken away, being able to do things he enjoys, all that stuff, and just not having to stress about his stepdad. He does start to do better in school. He starts to be happier, everything's going good. So for a couple months, this kid's just kind of like rebuilding his life. Not that his stepdad destroyed it. Maybe rebuilding is too strong of a word, but like, just getting things back in order after his stepdad had basically intentionally gotten him off of track. Like, everything was going smoothly, straight A student, everything was going good. The stepdad shows up, everything goes to shit, and then now he's just kind of getting the ship back on course, which, kudos to you. That's the goal. Getting things back on course is obviously good for you. As somebody who gets distracted very easily and gets off track, getting back on can be very hard. But he's with his dad. He's getting back on track. And after a couple months, one day he's chilling with his dad, and his dad is like, can I ask you a question? And obviously, when your dad asks if he can ask you a question, you're not like, no, I refuse questioning. Yeah, he's going to answer his dad's question. His dad is like, what made you want to move in here? Because before, for a while, you had done the weeks at your mom's and then the weekends over at here. And he doesn't really want to answer, and his dad's kind of like, come on, tell me. Like, it's pretty obvious that something happened, so will you please just tell me? And so reluctantly, the kid is kind of like, all right, well, mom's new husband, and he tells him the entire story, basically, like, from the beginning, as much as I've told you, up to this point. And the dad is obviously pissed when he hears this, because any person who hears that someone has been, like, trying to blackmail their kid and ruin their relationship with their mom, yeah, you're gonna go ballistic. Like, I'm just saying, the dad had a pretty standard reaction. I'm not a dad, but if somebody was threatening my imaginary kid, I would lose my mind, especially if they were blackmailing them to move out. Please take a second to press the like button. Thank you, I love you. So the dad does what any dad would do. He starts freaking out, and he basically is asking the kid what happened, asking if he has any proof, asking for all this stuff. And he's like, all right, well, tomorrow I'm going to go see your mom and we're going to handle this because nobody's going to threaten my son, which, hey, good dad move. That's the goal of being a parent, is not letting anyone threaten your kid. That's on like the top 3 biggest responsibilities of being a parent. Not letting old men who are just weird and trying to like sleep with the kid's mom threaten him and make him get out of the house, dude. Like the stepdad, it's kind of reminds me of every stereotype from like every book I read, like Percy Jackson's stepdad, who was just such a disgusting creature. Like that's the only type of person that could be this mean, dude. Like I just really don't understand this guy's logic. He married a girl with a kid, but didn't want to be a stepdad. Like, there's plenty of women who don't have kids. Why did you pick one whose kid you hated? There's so many points on this story where I'm like, oh, this really could have been avoided if someone would have just thought things through. But no, the smelly, stinky stepdad is just being whacked. So whatever. This kid's dad ends up going over to his mom and kind of explaining the situation. And obviously, it's not a he said, she said when, like, the ex-husband is coming over and basically being like, yeah, our son kind of broke down crying yesterday, telling me that your husband had been relentlessly bullying him and forcing him to move out of your house. Otherwise, he was going to like leak this footage of him saying some horrible things to him. So, the dad tells the mom that, and the mom is very shocked at first because she has no idea. This guy was like one of those people that was really good at putting on the like, I care so much act. Keep in mind, the entire time he had been like torturing this kid and, taking away all of his things, and like basically everything he was passionate about was slowly being stripped away from him. He was doing it under the guise of like, I just care about him so much. I just want him to wake up and feel energized for school. Like, he wasn't going to the mom and saying, look, I'm going to take away everything he likes just to make him uncomfortable here. Like, no. It was, well, we can't let him stay up late reading, otherwise he's not going to get sleep for school. It was stuff like that. He was a good actor about it. So the mom is pretty shocked, but when she confronts the stepdad, the kid wasn't there for this. I guess he got like insanely defensive, and started going into her about how she's a horrible mom who's done a horrible job raising the kid, which I will say, I feel like when your wife comes to you and says, hey, are you mean to my kid? He says that you blackmailed him into moving out. Maybe jumping straight to you're a horrible mother is not a very good way to like make yourself look innocent, Like, this guy had put all this effort into looking innocent and then blows his load when he's accused of just being like, oh, well, you're a bad mom. Like, dude, listen, no lady is going to react well to being called a bad mom. It's just not going to happen. And if anything, it makes you look guilty because it makes you look like you don't really like this kid or how he behaves. So once that was revealed, the mom and the stepdad's relationship kind of was a dumpster fire. He kept living at his dad's, though, because they like tried to work it out and solve their problems. But I feel like once the illusion is broken and you realize the person you're married to hates your kid and blackmailed him into moving out, it's probably very hard to stay with them. I mean, like I said, I don't have kids, but like, if I found out that somebody I was dating was, blackmailing one of my friends, it would be hard to recover, let alone someone I'm married to blackmailing my kid. So, that's gonna be a fat L for that, dude. So he's not around anymore. I guess that is a victory. This isn't a Disney movie, though. It's not like his parents got remarried after or anything. Like, this guy was just a crazy person. And once again, I know I've said this twice, but like, what was this guy thinking? What was he thinking? And you know what? The kid was 14. Even if you hated him, you could have just toughed it out 4 more years, dude. Like, nobody's saying you have to like the kid, but blackmailing him into moving out, 4 years early when you've got like another 60 with his mom is just kind of a weird move, and now you're single. And I feel like this dude definitely is just on Tinder with his bio, absolutely no kids now. He's probably learned his lesson. Even though there's nothing wrong, like, he's just weird. I'm not saying the kid did anything wrong. Obviously, he was pretty innocent. I'm just making jokes because this old dude is just weird, man. Like, who gets that mad at a 14-year-old? I also just don't understand why he was so mad about the kid having a girlfriend. I still don't get that either. He's like, you've betrayed the family. Like, what? Do you want the kid to just be single forever? You want him to take an anime girl cut out to prom? Like, is that what you want for your stepson? You want him to be that kid who's just never gonna move out because he has no one to move out with, and moving out on your own is expensive these days? You never want him to go out and party in college. You just want him to watch anime and study. Like, dude, I feel like eventually parents gotta realize your kid's gotta live some life too, I'm not saying school's not important. I'm not saying that stuff, like, doesn't have a place for sure, but you have to do stuff you like too. Life is short, man. You don't want to spend your whole life doing stuff that other people tell you to do if you don't like it. Like, you know, you only got 100 good years, so you got to make them count. Don't take stuff that people enjoy away from them. Let them do it more. That's just a good vibe. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to press the like button and comment the word Joe Rogan down below if you enjoyed the video. It just helps it do a little bit better in the algorithm, and I'd appreciate it. Other than that, if you want to join the little community I've got on Discord, it should be down in the description, discord.gg/Scrubby. We have like 10,000 members in there. Follow me on Twitter at Scrubby_69. I tweet pretty often, and I'm pretty dang funny if I get to say so myself. And my Instagram is just at Scrubby. If you like the intro song, the link is also in the description. If you want to check that out, I'll leave the Spotify link down there. And yeah, other than that, you should also go ahead and check out the new merch. The link will also be down in the description. I guess I just had a lot of things to plug this time. And on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys all next time with another video. I'm out. Peace.